Texas sheriffs and immigration and customs enforcement employees are now suing the Biden administration. They're accusing the administration of blocking federal officials from doing their jobs. And you know the surge of illegal immigrants across our border is showing no signs of slowing down. Republicans are railing against the president's border policies, which are just a reversal of what Donald Trump had done in the office. Congressman Bob Good warned the U.S. has, quote, no operational control of the border after he got a firsthand look at the situation. Texas Senator Ted Cruz with this.
Right now, I think their hands are tied because they've made the promises. They're not going to go back on those promises, I don't believe. So Joe Biden will not be willing to enforce the border or stop the illegal immigration. So his only solution to the border crisis is like an ostrich, stick his head in the sand and hope that the media doesn't cover it.
Republican Congressman Andy Biggs of Arizona, co-chair of the House Border Security Caucus, and you're also a member of the Judiciary and Oversight Committees. Congressman, great to have you on the program. The idea of sticking one's head in the sand. First of all, talk to me about what Biden and his administration are refusing to see about the border crisis.
Well, Harris, they're virtually not seeing anything. They don't get the numbers. They're releasing people into the country, just enormous numbers. 10,000 unaccompanied children alone recently released into the country. 78,000 children, unaccompanied children, have come to the country this year. That's like 5 times more than the highest ever. They don't see the numbers. They don't see the impact that it has on the border. So when Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris, goes to the border and goes to El Paso, she doesn't go to the areas along the border that are hardest hit. So they don't see anything except for they don't want to bring the Trump policies back in. Now, Trump policies gave us operational control. So they're virtually missing, Harris, they're missing the entire picture of what's going on the border, in my opinion.
Look, some of your colleagues in the House, Representative Steve Scalise and also Tony Gonzalez, laid out a couple of things that the president can do to fight the border crisis. I know we put Kamala Harris in charge of it, but since nothing is happening there, the best things the president could do, according to them right now, are to reject talk of rescinding Title 42 of the Public Health Safety Act, which allows Border Patrol to turn away illegals who were recently in a country with a contagious disease, and reverse his executive order that stopped all border wall construction and repealed President Trump's Remain in Mexico policy. Scalise and Gonzalez say, well, you could just start there. What's your reaction?
No, they're exactly right. I mean, Remain in Mexico worked, building the fence worked, and Title 42 was working. And so they need to reinstate those fully. But they also could reinstate the agreements with the Northern Triangle states of Honduras, Nicaragua, El Salvador. Those were working. How about taking away incentives like $1,400 for every illegal migrant that comes across the border? That would work. But you know what would work is rhetoric, the bully pulpit. If this president would say, don't come, and then he enforces those policies, guess what? The cartels get that. They control the border right now. And they would say, well, okay, we're going to have to slow down or we're going to have to find some other business model. But that's what's happening. This administration, it indicates that they're willful, Harris.
And look, this is going to be costly for Democrats. Here's Steve Hilton from The Next Revolution right here on the Fox Network.
First of all, the issue itself is very powerful, as we saw with President Trump, because it speaks to people's concerns about the government not being in control of events. But secondly, the crisis at the border caused by Biden's policies, that speaks to the incompetence, the general incompetence of the Biden regime.
And basically, what Steve and others have been saying, Congressman, is politically, this will start to really hurt. And by then, the nation will have been hurt.
Well, he's right on that on 2 fronts. First of all, this is a national security issue. We haven't even talked this morning about the terrorists on known watch list that come across the border, but it is a political liability for them as well. Right now, it is above 60%. So as people become more and more aware, and they've got to become aware because you have, with apprehensions and getaways that are coming in, you're about 250,000 people per month over the last 4 months that are coming into this country. Yeah, that's 1 million people. Yeah.
I want to get to this. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi refusing to comment on Congresswoman Ilhan Omar's standing by her comparison of the U.S. and Israel to terror groups like Hamas and the Taliban. This week, Omar took aim at her Jewish Democratic colleagues, saying they have not been partners in justice. And when she was asked about those remarks yesterday, the Speaker of the House cut the reporter off mid-question. Watch.
Very quickly, earlier this week, Congresswoman Ilhan Omar was on our.
Well, let's stay with this, and I'll answer that afterward.
She and Biden have that in common. I don't know if you caught his news conference earlier about they didn't have a lot of news go back and forth earlier with Biden. He was cutting questions off about Afghanistan. What do you make of this? How can they hold Ilhan Omar accountable if the speaker won't even let you ask about it?
Yeah, well, the media's asking the right questions, and they're not going to answer them, apparently. But it's consistent. I mean, this is not like a one-off statement by Representative Omar. This is a history and a pattern. I typically will forgive somebody who makes a statement that's inappropriate one time. You know, you kind of look at it, you could get flustered to say something you shouldn't say. But this is a pattern, and the Democrats, Speaker Pelosi, has allowed this to go on for several years now, and she doesn't hold. Well,
do you know?
Well, my guess is that her power margin is so thin that she can't afford to lose anybody in order to remain the Speaker of the House of Representatives.
Wow.
And if that's the case, that's an unprincipled. I'm taking a cynical view of things, but I think that's the way it is.
Imagine how thin that power margin is going to be as we get closer to 2022 and you see people listening more to Republicans about don't defund the cops and other issues that people say are atop their list of things they care about. Congressman Andy Biggs of the great state of my home of Arizona, it's good to see you today. Happy 4th. Thank you.
Happy 4th, Harris. Thanks.